The quantum sensors aboard the Helios Deep Space Research Station weren't designed to detect warships. Their original purpose was to study stellar phenomena and search for potentially habitable worlds. So when Dr. Sarah Chen noticed the unusual readings at the edge of the Tau-Ceti system, her first thought was that she'd discovered a previously unknown type of stellar anomaly. The reality was far more terrifying. "Director Walsh, you need to see this," Sarah called out, her eyes fixed on the holographic display floating above her workstation. The quantum interference patterns were unlike anything she'd documented in her 15 years of astrophysics research. Marcus Walsh, director of the Helios station, drifted over in the low gravity of the command center. "What have you found, Dr. Chen?" "These energy signatures. They're organized, structured. Whatever's causing them, it's artificial." Sarah manipulated the hologram, highlighting specific wave patterns. "And they're getting stronger." Walsh's expression darkened. Humanity had spent centuries wondering if they were alone in the universe. Now, at humanity's first research station around another star, they were about to get their answer. "Alert status. All personnel to stations," Walsh commanded, his voice carrying across the command center. "And get me a direct quantum link to Earth Command." The Helios station, home to 300 of humanity's brightest scientists and engineers, transformed from a place of research to one of nervous anticipation. They had protocols for this. First contact scenarios that had been rehearsed but never expected to be used. Sarah watched as new signatures appeared on her display. "Sir, I'm detecting massive objects decelerating from FTL speeds. They're mass readings. They're larger than anything humanity has ever built." The first visual confirmation came moments later. Against the backdrop of Tau-Ceti's golden light, massive shapes emerged from what appeared to be tears in the fabric of space itself. Their hulls were midnight black, absorbing rather than reflecting light, covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. "This is Director Walsh of the Helios Research Station to approaching vessels." Walsh broadcast on all frequencies, following first contact protocols. "We are a peaceful scientific installation of the United Earth Government. We welcome." He never finished the greeting. The alien vessels opened fire. The first salvos of energy weapons cut through the station's defensive shields like they weren't even there. Sections of the station's outer ring were vaporized instantly, the vacuum of space claiming labs and living quarters alike. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut as warning klaxons blared throughout the remaining structure. "Get everyone to the emergency shelters," Walsh ordered, gripping his console as the station shuddered under another impact. "Dr. Chen, download all our research data to the quantum beacon. Earth needs to know what's happening here." Sarah's fingers flew across her haptic interface, initiating emergency data protocols while around her, the command center erupted into controlled chaos. The station's minimal defensive weapons, designed to destroy incoming asteroids, fired uselessly against the alien vessel's shields. "Sir," Sarah called out, her voice steady despite the terror threatening to overwhelm her. "I'm detecting more ships emerging. They're launching smaller craft. I think they're boarding vessels." Walsh nodded grimly. "Security teams to all critical sections. Dr. Chen, how long until the data transfer is complete?" 3 minutes. Another explosion rocked the station. "Maybe less if we—" The command center doors exploded inward. Through the smoke and debris stepped figures that would haunt humanity's nightmares for years to come. They stood nearly 3 meters tall, their bodies encased in armor that seemed to bend light around it. Where their faces should have been, there were only smooth, reflective surfaces that pulsed with internal light. "Attention inferior species," a voice boomed in perfect English, somehow emerging from all around them, rather than from any single entity. "Your existence has been evaluated by the Nexus Dominion. You have been found wanting. Submit to immediate containment and biological regression protocols, or face extinction." Walsh stepped forward, placing himself between the aliens and his crew. We are a peaceful research station. We've done nothing to. A beam of energy lanced from one of the aliens' weapons, reducing Walsh to atoms before he could finish speaking. Sarah watched in horror as her colleagues were systematically stunned and collected by the boarding party, tagged like specimens in some cosmic zoo. In her hand, she clutched a quantum data crystal containing everything they'd learned about the aliens in these brief, terrible moments. As the aliens approached her station, she slipped it into the emergency beacon launcher, a system designed to preserve critical research data in case of catastrophic station failure. The alien reaching for her hesitated as alarms blared. The beacon launched, its quantum drives activating instantly. The aliens fired, but too late. The beacon vanished into quantum space, carrying its warning to Earth. The last thing Sarah saw before the alien's weapon fired was another fleet emerging from quantum space. Dozens of massive warships, heading directly for Earth's solar system. Her last conscious thought was a prayer that humanity would be ready for what was coming. The quantum beacon arrived at Earth Defense Command headquarters 17 hours later. Its warning would arrive too late to save the 300 souls aboard the Helios station, but it would give humanity something far more valuable: time to prepare. Within 24 hours of the beacon's arrival, every major nation on Earth had received the data. The response was unprecedented in human history. Ancient rivalries were forgotten. Borders became meaningless, and humanity's entire industrial and scientific capability was turned toward a single purpose: survival. In orbital shipyards that had once built science vessels and cargo haulers, engineers worked frantically to adapt their designs for war. In laboratories across the globe, scientists pored over the sensor data from Helios, searching for any weakness in the alien technology. And in hardened bunkers deep beneath the Earth's surface, military strategists began planning humanity's response. They had no illusions about matching the Nexus Dominion's technology. Not immediately. But humanity had something the aliens couldn't understand: the desperate creativity of a species fighting for its very existence. The aliens had made a crucial mistake. They had revealed their presence not to a primitive species ready for subjugation, but to humanity at the cusp of its expansion into space. A humanity that had spent centuries imagining and preparing for this very scenario through science fiction and military planning exercises. A humanity that had nearly destroyed itself multiple times, only to emerge stronger and more resilient. As the first reports of alien ships entering the solar system reached Earth, humanity was already changing. Factory production lines were being retooled, scientific research was being redirected, and military forces were being combined under unified command. The Nexus Dominion expected to find an easy conquest. Instead, they would face humanity's greatest strength: its ability to adapt, innovate, and overcome. The war for Earth's survival was about to begin, and humanity would show the galaxy why you should never underestimate a species that had spent its entire history learning to survive against the odds. In the quantum data stream that reached Earth along with Sarah's warning was a single sentence, added in her final moments. "They think we're primitive. Let's show them how dangerous primitive can be." Dr. Maya Patel stood in what had been a medical robotics factory 3 months ago. Now the precision assembly lines that once crafted surgical robots were producing something very different. She watched as robotic arms delicately wove carbon nanotubes into a lattice structure that would become the nervous system of humanity's newest weapon: the Titan combat frames. "How long until the first batch is ready?" General Santos asked, his weathered face reflected in the reinforced glass of the observation room. Below them, hundreds of partially assembled mechanical frames stood in neat rows, each one a fusion of medical precision and military necessity. 2 weeks for the prototypes," Maya replied, checking her tablet. "Once we verify the neural interface works as intended, we can begin mass production. The medical coding we used for surgical robots translates surprisingly well to combat applications." The general nodded grimly. In the 3 months since the Helios incident, humanity had been transforming itself at an unprecedented pace. Every industry, every technology, Every bit of human knowledge was being repurposed for survival. The Nexus Dominion expects us to be primitive, Maya continued, leading the general to another section of the facility. Their attack on Helios showed us they have energy weapons, advanced AI, and FTL capability. But they don't understand human innovation. They stopped at a testing chamber where a prototype Titan frame was powering up. Inside the cockpit, a test pilot's mind merged with machines originally designed for microsurgery. The neural interface, refined through decades of medical research, allowed for precision control that rivaled the aliens' AI-driven systems. "Show me," Santos ordered. The Titan frame moved with fluid grace, its movements precise and deliberate. Training drones, programmed with data recovered from the Helios incident, attacked with simulated alien weapon patterns. The Titan didn't try to match the drone's advanced technology. Instead, it used its medical-grade precision to target microscopic weaknesses in their shields, using minimal force applied at exactly the right points. "Beautiful," Maya whispered as the Titan systematically disabled drone after drone. "We're not trying to match their technology. We're circumventing it entirely." Similar transformations were happening worldwide. Atmospheric processing plants, originally designed to combat climate change, were being modified to create electromagnetic shields that could disrupt alien targeting systems. Agricultural genetic engineering labs had shifted to developing biological countermeasures against alien biotechnology. But humanity's greatest weapon wasn't its repurposed technology. It was its ability to think differently than the Nexus Dominion expected. Dr. Patel, her AI assistant, interrupted. "You have a priority message from the Antarctic Research Station." Maya's eyes widened as she read the report. Dr. Sarah Chen's quantum data crystal had contained more than just tactical information. It had included complete sensor readings of the alien ship's quantum signatures. The Antarctic team had found a pattern. "General, look at this," Maya said, projecting the data. "The Dominion's quantum drives don't just bend space. They follow fixed mathematical patterns. They're so advanced they've become predictable." Santos leaned forward, his military mind immediately grasping the implications. "Can we use this?" Maya's fingers flew across her interface, running simulations. Their technology is built on perfect efficiency, perfect precision. But in nature, imperfection is often stronger than perfection. We don't need to match their quantum technology. We need to disrupt it. She pulled up another project file, the Chaos Engine. Originally designed as a quantum computing breakthrough, it had failed because it produced unpredictable results. Now that very unpredictability might be exactly what they needed. "If we can't beat their technology," Maya explained, "we'll introduce chaos into their systems. Their perfect quantum calculations won't be able to compensate for truly random interference." Across the Earth, similar revelations were occurring. Humanity's perceived weaknesses, its imperfection, its chaos, its desperate creativity, were becoming its greatest strengths. The Nexus Dominion had encountered countless species in its expansion, but none quite like humans. In orbit, the first of Earth's transformed orbital factories began producing ships unlike anything humanity had built before. They weren't elegant or advanced by alien standards, but they were unpredictable, adaptable, and built for a kind of warfare the Dominion had never encountered. The prototype vessels incorporated everything humanity had learned about the aliens. Their hulls were deliberately asymmetrical, making them harder for alien targeting systems to lock onto. Their weapons were modified industrial tools, operating on principles the aliens wouldn't expect. Even their power systems were uniquely human fusion reactors that sacrificed efficiency for adaptability. "Status report from Luna Base," Maya's AI announced. "The first batch of quantum disruptors is ready for testing." Maya nodded, watching as another Titan frame completed its trials. "Schedule the tests for tomorrow. And send word to all research facilities. We're implementing Protocol Omega." Protocol Omega was humanity's acknowledgement that they couldn't win a conventional war against the Dominion. Instead, They would change the rules of engagement entirely. Every human technology, every tactic, every strategy would be designed to exploit the one weakness they'd discovered in their advanced enemy: their rigid perfection. As Maya watched the Titan frames prepare for mass production, she thought of Sarah Chen and the sacrifice of the Helios station. Their warning had given humanity time to prepare, to adapt, to transform. The Nexus Dominion thought they were dealing with primitive beings who would submit or be destroyed. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology, but its ability to turn perceived weakness into unexpected strength. The awakening of humanity's true potential had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. "General," Maya said, looking at the rows of combat frames below, "I think it's time we showed the Dominion why they should have studied Earth's history before deciding to invade. Every great empire in human history fell when they underestimated their primitive opponents." Santos smiled grimly. "Send word to command. Operation Prometheus is ready to begin. Let's show these aliens what humanity does when backed into a corner." The transformation of Earth was nearly complete. Now it was time to take the fight to the stars. Lieutenant Commander Aisha Patil checked her Titan frame's neural interface one final time as her strike team approached the Nexus Dominion's forward base in the Kuiper Belt. Their ships, a cobbled-together fleet of converted mining vessels and prototype warships, looked like space debris to the aliens' sophisticated sensors. Exactly as intended. "Strike Team Artemis, final systems check," she broadcasted on their quantum-encrypted channel. The response came from 15 other Titan pilots, each one chosen for their ability to think creatively under pressure. Their mission was unprecedented, the first major offensive against the Dominion since the war began. But more importantly, it would test humanity's new approach to warfare. They weren't trying to beat the aliens at their own game. They were changing the rules entirely. "Chaos Engine signatures nominal," reported her second-in-command, Jack Chen. "The random quantum fluctuations are masking our approach perfectly. Their sensors are registering us as natural space phenomena." Aisha smiled grimly inside her cockpit. The Chaos Engine, humanity's failed quantum computer experiment, had become their greatest stealth technology. Its unpredictable emissions confused the Dominion's perfect sensors, creating a cloak of quantum noise that hid their true nature. The Dominion base loomed ahead, a massive structure of black metal and pulsing energy fields. It was a forward operations center, coordinating the alien fleet's movements throughout the solar system. Intelligence suggested it contained something even more valuable: a quantum network node that linked to the Dominion's home systems. "Remember," Aisha transmitted to her team, "we're not here to match their technology. We're here to prove that human ingenuity can overcome any technological advantage. Execute Operation Butterfly." The name was deliberately chosen, a reminder that small changes could have massive consequences. As they approached the base, each Titan frame activated its specialized equipment, technology that would have seemed primitive to the Dominion, but used in ways they could never anticipate. The first phase began with their ships releasing clouds of engineered microorganisms, another primitive technology that the Dominion's defenses weren't designed to stop. These bacteria, created in Earth's repurposed genetic engineering labs, were programmed to consume specific frequencies of energy. As they spread across the base's shields, they began feeding on the energy fields, creating microscopic holes in the supposedly impenetrable defenses. "Phase 1 complete," Jack reported. "Shield integrity dropping exactly as predicted. They're reinforcing power to compensate, just like simulations showed." This was the key to humanity's new strategy, using the Dominion's predictable responses against them. As the aliens increased power to their shields, they followed exact mathematical protocols that human quantum computers had decoded. "Begin Phase 2, Aisha ordered. The Titan frames moved in perfect coordination, their medical-grade precision now applied to warfare. Each frame carried a modified version of what had once been surgical tools, devices designed to work through microscopic openings with perfect accuracy. Through the holes created by the engineered bacteria, the Titan frames inserted quantum disruptors, tiny devices that introduced chaos into the base's perfectly ordered systems. The Dominion's technology, built on mathematical precision, began to falter as random quantum fluctuations cascaded through their networks. Alert status detected, Jack warned. They've noticed something's wrong, but their systems can't identify what. Their response protocols are trying to adapt, but the random variations are preventing them from forming a coherent defense pattern. This was humanity's advantage, their ability to embrace and utilize chaos. While the Dominion ships began launching in precise, predictable formations, the human fleet scattered in seemingly random patterns, each ship following complex but unpredictable trajectories that the aliens' targeting systems couldn't solve. Execute Phase 3, Asia commanded. Show them why they should have studied Earth's history of asymmetric warfare. The Titan frames split into smaller teams, each targeting different systems with surgical precision. Some inserted quantum viruses into the base's communication arrays, corrupting their perfect data streams with chaos. Others used repurposed mining tools to create microscopic stress fractures in the base's structure, taking advantage of the aliens' over-reliance on mathematical perfection in their engineering. But the true masterstroke came from the base's own systems. As the quantum disruption spread, the Dominion's automated defenses tried to compensate by following their programmed protocols. Each adjustment they made followed perfect mathematical logic, and each adjustment made them more vulnerable to the chaos humanity had introduced. We've reached the quantum network node, Asia reported as her Titan frame breached the central command center. Uploading the Chaos Engine virus now. The virus was humanity's most sophisticated weapon, not because of its complexity, but because of its simplicity. It didn't try to override or control the Dominion's quantum network. Instead, it introduced tiny, random errors into their calculations. Each error was insignificant alone, but they would compound and multiply, spreading through their entire network like a cascade of falling dominoes. Multiple Dominion ships approaching, Jack warned. They've figured out we're not a natural phenomenon. Too late, Asia replied, watching as the virus upload completed. The butterfly has already flapped its wings. Across the base, Dominion systems began failing in unpredictable ways. Their perfect coordination shattered as random quantum fluctuations corrupted their communication networks. Ships that tried to respond found their targeting systems delivering slightly incorrect calculations, their weapons firing microseconds too early or too late. All teams, execute emergency withdrawal, Asia ordered. Let's show them another human specialty, knowing when to hit and run. As the Titan frames retreated, they left behind more than just a damaged base and corrupted networks. They left proof that humanity could not only fight back, but could do so in ways the Dominion had never imagined. The strike team vanished into the Kuiper Belt's debris field, their ships once again masquerading as space junk. Behind them, the Dominion's forward base descended into chaos, its perfect systems corrupted by humanity's imperfect but effective weapons. Mission accomplished. Asia transmitted to Earth Command. Operation Butterfly is a success. The Dominion is about to learn that sometimes the most primitive solution is the most effective one. As her team headed home, she knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had proven they could hurt the seemingly invincible Dominion. Now it was time to show them why underestimating Earth had been their greatest mistake. Admiral Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the EHS Prometheus, watching as her fleet of hybrid warships emerged from the quantum wake of their latest victory. 6 months had passed since Operation Butterfly, and humanity had not wasted the advantage they'd gained. Status report on the Dominion response patterns, she commanded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display where red dots representing alien vessels moved in increasingly erratic formations. They're trying to adapt, Admiral, her tactical officer, Commander Rajpatal, reported. But their attempts to counter our chaos strategies are making them more vulnerable, not less. They're so focused on finding patterns in our attacks that they're creating new patterns of their own. Elena nodded, understanding the irony. The Nexus Dominion, in their attempt to predict and counter human tactics, had become even more predictable themselves. Their military doctrine, built on millennia of technological superiority, couldn't adapt to an enemy that embraced unpredictability. New contact, the sensor officer announced. Massive quantum distortion detected. It's different from their usual signatures. The tactical display lit up as a new type of Dominion vessel emerged from quantum space. It was larger than anything they'd encountered before, its hull bristling with weapons that defied human analysis. They've created something new, Raj observed, his voice tight with tension. They're learning. Elena smiled. This was exactly what they'd been waiting for. All ships, execute Protocol Prometheus. Let's show them what real innovation looks like. The human fleet scattered in what appeared to be panic, but was actually a precisely choreographed dance of chaos. Each ship activated its chaos engine, flooding local space with random quantum fluctuations that made targeting nearly impossible. But the real surprise came from the fleet's newest weapons, the quantum mimics. Developed by Dr. Maya Patel's team, these devices didn't try to match the Dominion's advanced technology. Instead, they copied it imperfectly, creating resonance patterns that interfered with the aliens' perfect systems. Mimic pods deployed, Raj reported, beginning quantum resonance cascade. The massive Dominion vessel fired its main weapon, a beam of pure quantum energy that should have annihilated anything in its path. Instead, the energy scattered, reflected, and refracted through the cloud of mimic pods, creating a storm of unpredictable feedback that the alien ship's perfect calculations couldn't compensate for. This is how we win, Elena explained to her bridge crew. Not by matching their technology, but by making it work against them. Launch the TITN squadrons. From the Prometheus's launch base, dozens of TITN frames emerge, each one piloted by a human mind that understood the value of improvisation. They move through the quantum storm like dancers through rain, their movements guided by instinct as much as training. The Dominion vessel tried to adapt, its AI systems attempting to calculate new solutions, but each solution they found was immediately rendered obsolete by the ever-changing patterns of human attacks. It was like trying to solve an equation where the variables kept changing randomly. They're bringing in reinforcements, Raj warned. 3 more capital ships detected. Perfect, Elena replied. Implement the Hydra Protocol. This was humanity's latest innovation, a strategy that turned retreat into attack. As the human fleet appeared to withdraw, they left behind thousands of tiny probes, each one containing a fragment of the original Chaos Engine virus. The Dominion ships, following their protocol to eliminate all enemy technology, began systematically destroying the probes. Each destroyed probe released its viral payload into the quantum network, creating a cascade of errors that spread through the Dominion's command and control systems. The more thoroughly they tried to eliminate the threat, the more they infected themselves. Admiral, her communications officer called out, "We're detecting widespread failures in their quantum network. The virus is spreading faster than their systems can adapt." Elena watched as the mighty Dominion ships began to falter, their perfect coordination disrupted by cascading errors. Send word to all human forces. Operation Hydra is a success. Begin Phase 2. Across the solar system, human forces that had been hiding in debris fields and asteroid belts sprang into action. Each group used different tactics, different technologies, different approaches, a symphony of chaos that the Dominion's rigid military doctrine couldn't counter. Some ships used modified mining lasers that ignored shields entirely, cutting through hull plates with industrial efficiency. Others deployed swarms of microscopic robots that had once been medical nanites, now reprogrammed to disrupt the alien ship's critical systems. But humanity's greatest weapon was still their unpredictability. Every time the Dominion developed a counter to one tactic, human forces would switch to something completely different. The aliens' perfect adaptations became perfect vulnerabilities. We're detecting a quantum surge from the enemy flagship, Raj reported. "They're trying something new." "Let them," Alina replied calmly. "Every new tactic they develop helps us understand their underlying patterns better. Their quest for perfection is what makes them predictable." The battle continued, but its outcome was already decided. The Dominion's mighty vessels, for all their advanced technology, couldn't adapt fast enough to humanity's constantly evolving strategies. Their perfect formations broke apart under attacks they couldn't predict, their flawless calculations rendered useless by the chaos humanity had introduced into their systems. As the last Dominion ship retreated into quantum space, Alina sent a final message to Earth Command. The innovation war is working. They can't beat what they can't predict, and they'll never predict humanity. The war was far from over, but humanity had proven something crucial. In a fight between perfection and adaptation, adaptation would always win. The galaxy was about to learn why evolution had made humanity so resilient, and why underestimating Earth's children had been the Dominion's greatest mistake. The Nexus Dominion's High Command Chamber had never known silence until this moment. The Archons, the highest authority in their civilization, stood motionless as they processed the latest battle reports from the Sol system. Their perfect hierarchy, maintained for millennia, faced something unprecedented. Doubt. "Impossible," First Archon Valthor stated, his crystalline form pulsing with disturbed energy patterns. "They are primitives. Their technology is centuries behind ours. Their tactics defy all established protocols. That is precisely why they are winning." Second Archon Zinra responded, displaying holographic reconstructions of recent battles. "They do not follow protocols. They do not seek technological superiority. They turn our very perfection against us." In orbit around Jupiter, the latest evidence of humanity's effectiveness was impossible to ignore. A Dominion battle fleet, the most powerful ever assembled in this sector, was being systematically torn apart by forces they could barely detect, using weapons that shouldn't have worked. Commander Maya Patel, now Fleet Admiral of Earth's Combined Defense Forces, watched the battle unfold from her command center on Europa. The TITN frames, now evolved far beyond their original design, danced through the quantum storms they had created, each pilot's neural interface allowing them to react to chaos in ways the Dominion's AI never could. "Status report on Operation Singularity," she ordered, watching as the Chaos Engine network spread its influence further through the alien fleet's quantum systems. "The cascade effect is exceeding predictions," Dr. Jack Chen reported, his hands moving across holographic displays. "Their attempts to purge the quantum viruses are actually accelerating the spread. They've become trapped in their own perfection." This was humanity's masterstroke, turning the Dominion's greatest strength into their ultimate weakness. Every perfect solution they developed became a new vulnerability to exploit. Every flawless protocol became another chain binding them to predictable responses. In the High Command Chamber, Third Archon Kraltex presented a disturbing analysis. "They are not trying to defeat our technology. They are changing the fundamental nature of warfare itself. Our perfection has become obsolete." The word sent shockwaves through the chamber. In all their history of conquest, no species had ever forced the Dominion to question their fundamental assumptions about superiority. Back in the Sol system, humanity's forces pressed their advantage. The TITN frames had evolved into something the Dominion couldn't comprehend. A perfect fusion of human intuition and machine precision, capable of adapting in real time to any situation. Multiple quantum ruptures detected, a sensor operator announced. "The Dominion is bringing in their reserve fleet." Maya smiled. "They're still thinking linearly. Execute final protocol." This was the culmination of everything humanity had learned about their enemy. As the Dominion's reserve fleet emerged from quantum space, they found themselves in a battlefield that defied their understanding. Thousands of quantum distortion fields, each operating on different and random frequencies, created a space where their perfect calculations were worse than useless. Human ships, their designs now a hybrid of salvaged alien technology and repurposed industrial equipment, moved in patterns that looked chaotic, but were actually precisely calculated to exploit the aliens' predictable responses. But the true weapon wasn't the technology, it was humanity itself. Each ship, each Titan frame, each weapons platform was controlled by human minds that understood something the Dominion never could: the power of controlled chaos. In the high command chamber, the Archons watched as their perfect military machine began to break down. Ships that had conquered 1,000 worlds were being systematically disabled by weapons that their sensors insisted couldn't possibly work. Battle computers that had calculated millions of victories were being overwhelmed by strategies that defy prediction. "They are not merely fighting us," Fourth Archon Yenri observed. "They are forcing us to evolve. Our choice is now adaptation or extinction." The words hung in the chamber like a death knell for the old order. The Dominion had spent millennia perfecting their civilization, their technology, their methods of warfare. But in doing so, they had lost something that humanity had retained: the ability to embrace imperfection as a strength. Maya watched as the mighty Dominion fleet began to fracture. Some ships, their quantum networks corrupted by the Chaos Engine, fired on their own allies. Others, attempting to implement multiple defensive protocols simultaneously, suffered catastrophic systems failures. "Send the final message," she ordered. Across all quantum frequencies in every language the Dominion used, humanity's message was broadcast. "Your perfection is your weakness. Your protocols are your chains. Withdraw from Earth space. Abandon your plans for our containment, or watch as your perfect empire crumbles in the face of human chaos." In the high command chamber, the Archons faced a decision that would reshape their civilization. Before them lay two paths: continue their doomed attempt to subdue humanity and watch their perfect society tear itself apart, or do something no Dominion leader had done in 10,000 years: admit they were wrong. The silence in the chamber stretched for what seemed like eternity. Finally, First Archon Valthor spoke. "Send the signal. All forces are to withdraw from Sol space immediately. The containment protocols are terminated." As the Dominion fleet retreated, their perfect formations breaking down into individual ships seeking safety, humanity had achieved something unprecedented. They had not just defeated a technologically superior force, they had forced them to question the very foundations of their civilization. Maya stood on Europa's surface, watching the last Dominion ships vanish into quantum space. "Send word to Earth," she ordered. "The war is over, but more importantly, send word to our research teams. We've proven that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons." She smiled, looking up at the stars that had once seemed to hold only threats, but now promised infinite possibilities. "Our greatest strength is our ability to embrace chaos, to adapt, to turn our apparent weaknesses into unprecedented advantages. The galaxy will never be the same, and neither will we." The war had changed humanity too. They had learned that they didn't need to match an enemy's strengths to defeat them. They just needed to be uniquely, unpredictably, chaotically human. And that was something no perfect empire could ever overcome.